Hello guys, this is Shockwave King, and I'm back here once again. And you saw the title of that video. Yes, I do ask the question, who are the other featherweight champions in the featherweight class? Because now I was curious, because after what we just recently seen with Billy McCullum, and how basically Ricardo Martinez beat this man to into his life and knocked him out cold, it's now that we've seen that, it's just like, I kind of asked the question, do you really even need to see any other champions? Because I asked the question, how come Ricardo Martinez didn't fight anybody else? How come he don't have any other belts? Why you don't champion of one? Is just like, what he did to Billy McCullum made me just like, there's no point even seeing the other champions. Maybe I'm wrong, but it's just, if Ricardo Martinez can beat somebody like that, besides from like seeing Ippo or Sendo potentially fighting them, or Miyata, there's no point in seeing the other champions. There's no point in seeing this. And the reason I bring this up is, but let's go back to the most controversial fight in Hajime Ippo besides from Wally, Alfredo Gonzalez versus Sendo. You look at that fight. Right before, it was right after Sendo broke his hand, and right before they did the final duel exchange before Sendo KO'd him, Ricardo Martinez was saying to himself that, you know, his career, his boxing and fighting style has brought him all over the world. That under the strength of men that you've crossed fists before with, in the fist of hearts you polish day after day. And in that panel, you do see that some of the people that Alfredo Gonzalez was surprisingly recognized as a tough opponent is Ippo, because people want to keep on saying that, oh, Alfredo Gonzalez was right, or he was right about Ippo, he wasn't made for the world stage. Alfredo Gonzalez, towards the end of that fight, was fighting teeth and nail to try to stop Ippo. He realized Ippo had the potential of actually beating Martinez. So if you've forgotten, please go read the fight. Go reread the fight. But Alfredo Gonzalez knew if Ippo would have made it to Martinez, he could have potentially upset Martinez. He had to stop him the best way he could, the best way he knew how. So I'm not gonna act like that Alfredo Gonzalez 100% right, because his opinion changed before he KO'd Ippo. He was actually trying to stop Ippo, and Ippo just like courage, which I still say that's the best, Ippo's best fight, because that courage thing, Ippo is not stopped. He's just like, I hit it with my best shot. How is he still standing? How is he still taking punches? His name is Ippo Makaneuchi, that's why. That's how you can still take punches. His name is Ippo Makaneuchi. But in that whole fight, we do see Ippo Martinez, but the most interesting thing, in my opinion, you do see some silhouettes of some other people. Now, I can't sit and act like those are some people we actually be able to see, but it does make the question, what are the other featherweight champions are like, and what other type of champs we could have? Because we still have, like, since the United States and some other countries are not a part of the whole Pacific Rim Championship type of thing, then that means they gotta be like a European champion. They have to be like an American champion in those countries. So in case Ippo does have to come back, there are other people that we can fight. Or since that's the thing with I don't know if Sendo will, after he heals from after he broke his hand against Gonzalez's forehead, if he would go straight into a fight with Ricardo Martinez. Because Sendo is the type of person you really don't need in warms up, because he's just, after Ippo came out of rehab, just KO'd the guy, which is sad. He just, you can't act like he didn't try his best, but Ippo, it's just like, that's the thing. It's funny how Ippo is based off of Mike Tyson, but Sendo has more first round KOs. That's funny. But and when it referred to the whole champion thing, just like, because Billy McCullum, he walked up. He was featherweight champion of the WBC. He kept on questioning why everybody continued to see Ricardo Martinez unstoppable, unbeatable, untouchable, and then he got in the ring with him and realized why. It's just those pinpoint, motionless jabs tore through his gab, and when he cracked that shell wide open, when he cracked open that clam shell, it was just straight broken pearls and mashed organs after then, and Ricardo Martinez threw into him. But seeing the other obliteration, the other destruction of Billy McCullum, it's just like, what kind of other champions obviously have to offer at this point? Because it really seems like, not only the fact that Billy McCullum was not a Ricardo Martinez mandatory, it's just one of those things where just, I forget what belt he holds. I guess whatever belts he holds, just let him do whatever he wants. Because he's just fighting anybody, he's going against anybody, he's just, there's like nobody really stopping him from doing what he wants. It's just like he rarely fights. He really does, and it's just, and no one really wants to fight him. So Mega Ben question. Now, since we obviously know these characters cannot beat Ricardo Martinez, none of them. Only one who has potential to do it is like the only people who seem to have potential to do it is Ricardo Martinez was memorized by the concept of the Dempsey alone, so he does wonder how it could evolve later on. And the second one is Sendo, since you know obviously Sendo had the big match this moment when he knocked down the champion. Real deal Ricardo has went down and tasted the pavement. So they both had their own personal great moments against they both had their own moments against Martinez. What a person thought, or they have shown off their skill, because the way Martinez was panicking and the way Gonzalez was panicking to stop Ippo, you could tell that when I read them chapters personally, I could personally tell that Alfredo Gonzalez actually believed that Ippo, if he would have got lost to Ippo, that Ippo could have beat Ricardo Martinez. And that was not even Ippo at his full power. That is Ippo with accumulated damage. But it wasn't as... It was light accumulated damage Ippo, pretty much. Maybe like a... I guess you could say like a 90% Ippo, not like a 100% Ippo, like 90, 93. And somebody say, oh, you could say 80, cause like you could say the Ippo that went against Antonio, that was an 80 to 75% Gonzalez. But the Ippo went against Alfredo Gonzalez, that had to be like a close to 100% Ippo, or he would have got destroyed in my personal opinion. That's personally what I believe. But yeah, when the first those other champions, like if we are gonna have like a dream match scenario, where Sendo and Ippo are going to go against each other to unify all the belts in the featherweight class, and actually actually have that grandiose battle with Ippo's true rival, Takeshi Sendo, to a certain degree. Then it's just, we might have Ippo go after another world champion. Let's say Sendo does beat Ricardo Martinez. I think it'd be less likely for the coach to pull off what he did against Sendo the first time in the second fight. Because Sendo has still been active and monstrous in fighting top tier competition. Ippo just can't come out of retirement, have a tune-up fight, and fight Sendo. It's not like it used to be at all. He just can't do that. Plus, another cool effect, Ippo had a major advantage with a long time extended training with Nokita and the whole Dempsey. So, and even then you could argue to a certain degree that wasn't enough. Because Sendo was just eating. He took a Dempsey roll off the bat. I don't care what anybody says. Name me another character who could take a Dempsey roll off the bat and continue fighting like nothing happened. When you can do it, then I'll be like, alright. It's not as major as I thought it was. But until you can do that, that is incredible in my book still. But yeah, as far as what other featherweight champions could be. Well, actually, because there's still somebody who got to fight for the vacant. Yeah, whoever the mandatory for Billy McCullum still has to fight for the belt, the vacant belt. So it's just Billy McCullum has ruined his World Title opportunity. Well, technically he already had one, but he threw away his belt and lost to Martinez, and now it's just he didn't really got to start back at the bottom. But it's just, yeah, at least he stopped Martinez from becoming undisputed. He don't save somebody some money. He accidentally have saved somebody because somebody extremely got lucky with Billy McCullum throwing away that belt. Because you give it to Martinez, that belt is not going nowhere. Absolutely, unless Martinez drop it because he don't want to fight the same mandatory. Unless that happens, that belt is going to go nowhere. But I can't really come up with a concept for what the other champions could be, because like in that image, that one panel I brought up earlier, you do see like at least 5 other people. Like one of the guys' head are cut off, so there are 5 other people that Ricardo Martinez. And then again, I could be wrong, because this could just be referring to purely the other people that Alfredo Gonzalez could have fought. And if that's the case, then wow, if that's the case, then it's just no point of making this video. But because now that I think about it, he was purely talking about the people that he has fought. But the problem is, if that was the case and they was going to do it in order, then Ricardo Martinez should be somewhere else. Well, no, Ricardo Martinez should be further back. It's just Ippo was the most recent, and then it was like maybe he probably fought somebody in between then, but That's pretty much it. Now I think about it, just we don't really have the ideal of minds of viewing what the other champions are doing. And that's the thing is this: with Hajime Ippo, it really is the Japanese side of boxing and how to react to it. Because we don't get the interviews with any other fighter. We don't get too much of anything that refers to any other fighter inside Hajime Ippo besides from the Kurogama 5 and like some initial side characters that was introduced when Ippo fought them, like with Rourke and Sendo and Mishiba. So it is like one-sided on what happens, and the only other person who gets involved with all that type of stuff with the business side is Yagi-san, and yes, that's pretty much it. He usually handles all the getting the fight set up in the venue and how to talk about things just popping in. But there's an interesting question. I don't know if you guys think the whole situation of what do you guys think about the other featherweight champions, and do we even need to see the other champions after that Billy McCullum display of power? Which is, I don't know, it was the fact that, let's think, not even Sendo did that bad against Martinez. At least, sure, Sendo got beaten, but he made it past round 2. But then again, I guess George Murakawa pretty much told us how to... Never did that fight go... No, the fight didn't even go past round 2. It didn't. It didn't even make it to round 2. Never mind. Because like they did say, like, prepare for the longest 2 rounds of your life. But I could be remembering this wrong, but I don't think that fight actually even went 2 rounds. And then it brings to the question, if that's the case, let's use Billy McCullum as like a bar, like not the ceiling, but the second floor of power. All right, you got to be at least as strong as Billy, but it's just Billy got beaten so bad compared to anybody else. He got beaten like an early Ippo did with the Dimtro. He just got massacred. He didn't hit Ippo at all. I mean, he didn't hit Ricardo Martinez at all. So it's just like you didn't go for any body shots. He just cracked you wide open and just that's really just all you had. That's all you got. And the more I think about it, it gets more and more interesting as I think about the certain scenarios and things like that while recording this video. And it's just Because the question is, will we ever see them? Because we don't know what Miyata's rank, if he's still in the featherweight class, or yeah, he didn't know his rank with the different belts. Nor do we know Sendo's rank with different belts. Because Sendo has been going for like Martinez, but we haven't seen like his overall rank is like with Vork with the IBF, the WBC, and the WBO. I think it showed the WBO. So you haven't seen all 3 of them rankings. Nor do we have what Ippo see their rankings. So, because they're all being headed for Martinez, but it's only Vork where we got like his different rankings throughout the different boxing associations. So, anyway, because this is the top of the subject I want to cover and think about. Because now I think about that panel could mean something totally different, but it's too late now. We're already gone down this road. Those can't be. Let's say it would have been impossible to beat it, but because even then, could any of those guys end up going against Ippo, like Ippo coming off the couch and win? Oh no, I think that Ippo gonna come right off the couch and actually go for a world title. That in my opinion, that's not happening. Now he might go against a top 10 contender or maybe a top 15, but coming off the couch to go against somebody like that, nah, because they try to do that with it. No, Antonio is different. Antonio was different. A very different Ippo. That was a very panicked and paranoid Ippo, and everything else. So there's a lot of factors that led to why Ippo lost, besides from just he was weaker. A lot more factors than this. But that is the thing. It's just, do we even need to see the other champions at this point? Because would it be too much of a point after that performance that he gave us? So I'd love to sit here and act like the other featherweight champions would be, hey look, it would be amazing to find out who they are. Not really, since it's just like Martinez is pretty much all you pretty much all you need. You didn't really need too much else. And this is just like another thing, like you don't get nobody, you don't really hear any trash talk between the fighters either, because you don't see them going to interviews and just start talking about each other and just it turned into an interesting video right here, boy. But because I can't really I could think of like, hey, this champion would be like this champion would be like that, but the thing is, we don't hear about any other champions in Hajime Ippo when it first to the featherweight class at all. Matter of fact, when Takamura got that undisputed fight, that unified fight with Richard Bison, we heard nothing about him, and it just came up out of nowhere. So it's one of those things that just, it doesn't happen on the Switch, but it's one of those things where if George want to pull it out, he would. But because there's no real interest in any other the featherweight class champions at all, because no one talks about him, no one mentions him. It's like Sendo don't take him seriously, and it's funny how Martinez have not fought him. I understand why he has not fought him after that Billy McCullum thing. Nah. And that could affect, what if could it be possible that Ricardo Martinez, Rear Deal, the El Diablo, is it possible that Ricardo Martinez has beaten every other featherweight champion and just refused to rematch him? Could that be an honest possibility? In my opinion, yeah. Because it would explain why that Ricardo Martinez is not undisputed. Because he is built up as the strongest of the strong, the king of the kings in Hajime Ippo in the first of the featherweights. Even now, still monstrous and dominant performances. And it's sad because Ricardo Martinez can't find a true opponent. But in this aspect, when it refers to Ippo and everybody else, I don't know. Cause I don't think the other champions at this point is even necessary, which is messed up. But it's just not really, cause there gotta be some type of hype or some type of interest before the Ricardo fight shows up. So there gotta be somebody else. But it depends on how George want to build it. Because like after this recent fight, it was just fun. I'm not even mad that Billy McCullum got beaten like this. He got beaten like a dog. My whole thing is this has destroyed all my interest in seeing the other champions now. It's not like I would stop if any other champion showed up, because that just gets Ricardo. But it's just, when it first shot the main stick of power, is Billy McCullum did that bad, and Sendo was just fighting Mexicans and did that well. And it's just like, I really was hoping with Billy that we would see something, at least something, and it just, Billy got like this early hype from Ippo, and it just, well, Ippo said that Billy is just like, oh, he's razor sharp. Nah. This is why you retired. This is why you need to sit out. Okay, you need to take a few more months off, because that's not, you got that totally wrong. Ippo was hyping it up with at least Sucker Morris is a wrestler. He don't have no serious interest in this. When Ippo got it that wrong, just nah. It's just, Ippo not need to wait another 30 chapters before he get back into the ring. But then again, that's always has been Ippo. He always has been a better boxer than boxer analyst. So, but cause at this point, I am lost for words, because it's just, with the other featherweight champions, what did I say about them? What type of skills would they have? Because like, unless we find out the outcome, scratch that. We actually could potentially find out who is the WBC champion, because we gotta find out who. Like they want to bring up the whole he vacated the belt not to fight the other guy. His mandatory. So that means somebody else gonna have to fight for that belt. Now, potentially that could be Miyata, but Miyata's been MIA. It's just one of those things. Is that if Miyata would just give an outright answer that he's just going somewhere else or he's moving up a weight class, then I wouldn't have to keep bringing up Miyata. But it's just Miyata is still there. There's still a trump card that Itagaki have not played. So it's one of those things, and it's just because we don't know who Miyata was going for. Miyata recognized Ricardo as a strong champion, but it's not one of those things where Miyata was just like, I want to fight Ricardo. He's never been like that. And it's just, it's only really has been Ippo and Sendo run into Ricardo by accident, but he was there for Gonzalez. So it's really only been Ippo and the coach be going for Ricardo. But refer to the other champions. Even though they're mentioned, they're never shown. They're never brought up. We don't never see any news feeds about them. Or the last time we had the news in Hajime Ippo, Ippo wasn't even champion yet. With the whole referring to the reporters and the interviews. And like nobody catches up on the boxing magazines either. So it's just anyway. But again, we just got off a major fight with Sendo, so who knows? Who knows? A lot of things have happened in Hajime Ippo. Sendo has upset the world by being the number 2 in the world, becoming the becoming close to the number 1 mandatory. Coming close, because she's the number 2. We still haven't found out who the number 1 is. Which could have been Billy, but it wasn't Billy, so we still don't know who that is. There's a lot of questions that need to be answered. They need to be analyzed and addressed. But with the other featherweight champions, I'm just really in the mindset that we don't really need to see them. We don't really need, to a certain degree, I personally don't need to. But I understand that you guys would, because we still have the potential. We still have Ippo, and Ippo is still inside the fray. He still got to return, and we still got Teihei and Kentaru there, and we got to see how that career turned out. But besides from that, it's just until Ippo really returns and get back at it, I have no real interest in seeing the other champions really, because they're not going to do anything for me. It's just they'll just be there. But then again, it depends. It depends, because I can say this now and be hyped up more than a starving homeless man getting a Big Mac over seeing how it's set up. So it all depends. A lot of unknown factors. Because like now I look back on it, the thumbnail is wrong because Gonzalez wasn't even referring to them as champions. So it's just. But then again, we don't even know if Alfredo Gonzalez has fought the other guys before they became champions, because we don't know who's champion, who's not. We mainly know about Ricardo Martinez, and this is the first time in 30 years, of Hajime Ippo, that we even get a word or a peep of another champion. And now he's no longer champion, so it's just. Now there was a lot of people saying like Ippo can fight Billy, but even though it would be an interesting fight, that still wouldn't be Ippo's first fight, because even Yagi's just like, I should never set him up against a southpaw. So there might be some type of regret there. But it's not impossible. I wouldn't be mad if Billy actually fought Ippo. Because at least we actually get if Ippo fought Billy, at least we would have to give some respect for Billy and his skill. Because that destruction he got against Martinez, that was sad. That was really sad. I feel really bad for him, the way he got beaten like that. And it's just, and it's how badly he got beaten. The fact that it's just like, do we even need to see the champions if they're not even that close? It's just. It will be interesting though. It will be interesting to see how things turn out. Because we don't know how it's going to turn out. As in, we still don't know when Ippo is going to return. No one knows when that's going to happen. We don't know when Cinder going to get back from rehab after breaking another one of his bones. Broken bones. So that's another thing, and we don't know how what's Miyata going to do for the rest of his career. We don't know that either. So there still is. Then we got characters like Itagaki and Ayami, and see what they're going to do. Is Ayami going to challenge for the Pacific Rim? Because he didn't mention Sendo or Miyata, so he still could do that. And that's just like there's still things to do and cover, but. That new chapter was something I covered it some other time. This is probably like I don't know what type of video this is anymore. I have to apologize. I'm extremely shy because this video started off as a good idea, but now it's just because I really don't have anything to say about the champions themselves. Because I got no ideas. I don't have any quick sketches or anything like that, or a concept for them. It's just they're there, and it's just who are they? No one knows. They're never covered, they're never talked about, they're never mentioned, just absolutely nothing happens to them. They're just kind of just there. They're just there, pretty much. From the way I see it, they're just there. Never been down here before, but yeah, it's just one of those things where I don't know what you guys' thoughts in the comment section down below or wherever about who do you think the other champions are. Will we see them? Will we see what type of power they hold? Who will get the vacant WBC belt? You know, who will fight for the vacant WBC belt? Because this could be a huge chance for Itagaki. This could be a huge chance for Miyata. For Miyata. Or the more surprising would be, what if Ayami chose to step up this early? Now that would be interesting. That would be really interesting if he chose to do that. If he chose to step up to fight this world champion like this. Because remember, Mishima way early in the series could have fought the number 2 in the world, and after that he would have fought a world challenger. Just like that. And AJ Dante fought Ricardo Martinez pretty early in his career, like before 20 fights. So it's not impossible. It's really not impossible for to actually do that, but the question is, would he? And if he does, will Ayami win? Or aka Ame? I don't know why I call him Ayami. His name is he's not Hayami, so I don't know. I'll never tell you why. It's just like with someone more. I kept on calling him someone nada. I don't know what's wrong with me, but it's just a lot of things can go down. But I'd like to know what you guys think about the other featherweight champions in the featherweight class. Who do you think they are? Who do you think things will match up? Because we don't know who the Mexican, and we don't know who the American champion is. We don't know who's the European featherweight champion is. We don't know a lot of things referred to everybody else inside the boxing world, Hajime Ippo, which is reasonable since it is like from a Japanese boxer type of view, when it refers to like a focus mainly around Ippo and them. Now we could cover other people, but it's just in there. Only thing I know is I'm gonna start up for the upcoming Hajime Ippo shenanigans because chapter 13, 15, I can't give a reaction. I am gonna make a video about it. That was hilarious. That was hilarious. It is what it is. It's been boy Shockwave King. Who do you think the other champions are? Do you think there is an American champion? Will Ippo? Cause like there has been some rumors, so like some rumbling around the Reddit back when I was like reading the Reddit like some time ago about, hey look, I want Ippo to fight an American. I want Ippo to fight an American. I want Ippo to fight an American. I say it's a strong possibility, and that American could be an American champ. And sure, you could say in a certain way he's repeating it. I was not trying to sell that. Shit. He's repeating. I guess you say in a certain way some people can do it, that he is repeating the same mistake like he did before with Antonio. But it depends who his comeback match. It depends. Because I want it to be a May, but there's no guarantee it's going to be a May. But or Ame could actually take this massive step up and go against a world challenger now. Because we don't know what Ame has been doing. Because Ame has been continuing his career. Like he has faced no challenge so far as a Japanese champion. Which is sad because Ippo is over here fighting life and death with people. And Ame is just like, they're just nothing to me. Besides from a fun time. So. I'm just curious. A lot of questions that hopefully will eventually get answered. And don't worry guys, we only got 30 more years. No, not 30. We only got 15 more years. What do you mean 15? George Morikawa said the story is halfway finished. So don't worry guys. It's going to be 15 more years. George's going to be 65. And it's just... Come on guys, we don't got too much longer. Alright, it's just... Hopefully. Yeah. But I'll still be a fan, hopefully, by that time. And I still enjoy it. So, Benny Boy and Shockwave King. Look, if I say them questions again, something else will show up. So, you already know the question. I don't know you guys' thoughts and opinions about this whole subject. Who are the other featherweight champions, and do we even need to see them? Benny Boy and Shockwave King. Hope you enjoyed the video. Even though I think it's one of the more disappointing videos I've made. And, this boy Shockwave King, you know. Peace.